if you look at this image, there are of course the 15 parivara devatas surrounding, they are around something. The 15 deities who are again represented as yoginis starting from Bhuvaneshwari and so on, they are around the central focal point, which stands for the source of all these energies, the goddess herself, known by many names like Lalita Parabhattarika, Mahatripura Sundari. And when she is also present, 3 more sounds get added to the 15 sounds that we have just learnt. So there is another mantra in between called Shodashi, that is said to be like the most secretive of all mantras. So thankfully in Soundarya Lahari also it is not covered. Panchadashi he has touched upon, Ashtadashi he has touched upon, Adi Shankaracharya, but Shodashi he has kept secretive. You can, again, I highly recommend Devipuram in Vishakhapatnam, where I got introduced to these Shastras. It's best that you go there and explore these. But after Panchadashi, we now come to this Ashtadashakshari or Ashtadashi, where 3 more sounds get added to the 15 lettered mantra that we just learned. With this image, we'll now go to the prayoga of the shloka, where the siddhi that corresponds to the prayoga is iha para saubhagya. Saubhagya. How do we even translate words like this? Bhagya, which is usually just referred to as good fortune, good luck, it comes from the root sound bhaga, which is again the same root sound as Bhagwan or Bhagya. Bhagya is what we are looking at. So it comes again, if we want to just peel it to its most core fundamental sound, it is Bha, Prabha, Abha, Bhaskara. So that Bha is for radiance and brilliance. Having that with you, setting that forth in motion, Bhaga, is, if that is in motion and grace is functioning well, that is Bhagya. If it's fully flowing and it's all out, then it is Saubhagya. Iha is here in this world and Para is otherworldly, after we leave this physical plane of being. So overall well-being here and hereafter is Iha Para Saubhagya. So the sadhana that pertains to this shloka is to chant this 1000 times for a period of 45 days facing east. And the naivedya that is offered is madhu, which is honey, and mudga odanam. Mudga is pesarapappu. I don't know what it is in English. You can search what mudga is in English. I don't know. Green gram, I think, guys. Huh. Yeah. I did not have to search. Yeah, it is green gram, just by visualizing what that is. Anyway, so porridge or boiling it up and making it into, it's not rice. Rice is a very generic term, but this is porridge of green grams. So this is the naivedya and this is the yantra that pertains to the shloka. Once again, we are touching upon these just to be aware of the practical possibilities, the prayoga of this shlokas as well. Please repeat the words after me. Smaram yonim lakshmim tritaya mida madau. This word is composed of tritayam, idam, adau. The whole thing becomes tritaya mida madau. Tava manor nidhayaike manoho nidhaya eke. That becomes manor nidhayaike nitye niravadhi mahabhoga rasikaha. The component words are niravadhi. It can further be split as nihi avadhi, niravadhi mahabhoga rasikaah bhajanti tvam. The next big word is chintamani guna I think there is a typo there. Chintamani guna. The second na should also have been na. I'm sorry for the typo there. It is Chintamani Guna Nibaddhakshavalaya. Please correct this. Chintamani Guna Nibaddhakshavalaya. It is not Guna, Guna. Chintamani. So the component words of this whole word is Chintamani Guna Nibaddha Aksha Valayah. Chintamani Guna Nibaddhaksha Valayah Shivagnau Juhvantah Surabhi Ghrita Dharahuti Shataihi. Surabhi Ghrita Dhara Ahuti Shataihi. That becomes Surabhi Ghrita Dharahuti Shataihi. Let's now do it line by line. Smaram yonim lakshmim tritaya mida madau tava mano. Ideally it should not be stopped there. The whole thing is one word. Manor nidhayaike. But for this exercise we'll give it a pause there. Manoho would be an ideal way of giving a pause. Smaram yonim lakshmim tritaya mida madau tava mano. Nidhayaike nitye niravadhi mahabhoga rasikaah bhajanti tvam chintamani guna nibaddhaksha valayah shivagnau juhvantah surabhi ghrita dharahuti shataihi. Smaram yonim lakshmim tritayamidamado tava manor nidhayaike nitye niravadhi mahabhoga rasika bhajante tvam chintamani guna nibaddhaksha valaya Shivagnau Juhvanta Surabhigrita Dhara Huti Shatai. We'll look at the lay-wise arrangement of words in this shloka to understand its meaning. There is only one key idea being conveyed here, which is Eke Bhajanti. Eke is the word for a few of them. Some people. Bhajanti here is worship. Some people praise you, worship you, seek you. Tvam, you. Nitye, Nitya is eternal one. Incidentally, the other 15 deities are also called as different kinds of Nityas. She is the eternal Nitya. The other 15s are different kinds of, they have a prefix, Bhuvaneshwari Nitya, and so on. So, Tvam Nitye, you, O Eternal One, Eke Bhajanti. So, a few people worship her with, the stotras and shlokas and so on. Some more serious practitioners use the Panchadashi mantra. Here, Eke, among them, fewer, if select few, Bhajanti, worship you by this particular mantra, which is the Ashtadashi, and he is describing that in these other words, and how those people are, what their traits are, and who are these sadhakas who have come until this stage where they are practicing the Ashtadashi mantra. So, how are they doing it? Tava manoho adau nidhaya. Tava is of your Manoho. This manoho, the word mana is also for the mind, also for a man, also Manushya, and also for a mantra, Tava Manoho Adav. Adi is the beginning, Nidhaya is by placing. By placing in front of your mantra. What mantra? The mantra that we just saw, the Panchadashi. What? By placing what ahead of this mantra of hers? Tritayam Idam. Tritayam is this triad, the cluster of three. Idam is this triad. Tritayam Idam. Which triad? Smaram Yonim Lakshmim. This word Smara for Manmatha is representative of the Bija mantra. Cream, Yonim, the Bija mantra for the goddess's regenerative power, her womb, is Hreem, and Lakshmim is the Bija mantra, this representative of the Bija mantra for her benevolence, which is the Bija mantra for wealth and abundance, which is Shreem. This triad of these three mantras, Kleem, Hreem and Shreem, this triad, Tava Manoho Adav Nidhaya, by placing this ahead of your mantra, Eke Bhajanti, some people worship. How are those people? Niravadhi Mahabhoga Rasikaha. Avadhi is a boundary, a limit. Niravadhi is without any boundary, without any limits, constantly, forever. Maha, great. Bhoga, pleasures and relishments. Rasikaha, those who are relishing them, those who are enjoying them. Niravadhi Mahabhoga Rasikaha, those people who constantly relish these great pleasures, they worship you. They worship you how? By placing this triad of sounds ahead of your Panchadashi mantra. How else are they? Chintamani Guna Nibaddha Akshavalaya. Valaya is a circle, most of you know. Akshavalaya is a garland. Nibaddha, which is strung with, which is studded with, Chintamani Guna. Chintamani is that it's again very metaphorical, but just going by the story, it is that jewel which is wish-fulfilling jewel. What this Chintamani stands for in the human body, this Chinta is understood very colloquially as the power of thought. So what Chintamani is, I'll leave it again. It takes away some beauty when I explain too many of things at very base level. But Chinta, think of this. Chinta is that thought. Chintamani is the metaphorical jewel that bestows everything that one thinks of as soon as one thinks it. So these are the people who have those Chintamanis strung around their neck as a garland and roaming around. These are the people who worship you with those three sounds appended ahead of the Panchadashi mantra. And these are the people who Juhvantaha. Juhoti is to offer that. You'd see how when they're performing yajnas, they offer this havya, which is fuel for the fire in the yajna. That is what havya literally means. Anyway, so this Juhvanti also comes from the same dhatu. So as they make this offerings into the fire, what fire? Shiva Agno. Shiva Agni. Shiva is a very general word for auspiciousness, but here it is the consumptive fire, and all the commentaries call this the fire of Swadhisthana, the reproductive fire, the consumptive fire of the sacral chakra, as they call it. So into the fire of Swadhisthana, as they make offerings of, they fuel it up with what? Surabhi Ghrita Dhara Ahuti Shataihi. Shata is hundreds. Ahuti, is an offering or a sacrifice. The English word sacrifice has many other connotations, but anyway, Ahuti is something offered to nourish, to enrich. Dhara is a stream. Ghrita is ghee, colloquially. But the word Ghrita comes from that which is taken out through friction. The sound ghr itself has that frictional sound to it. So that which is churned out of something is ghritam. Taken out from what? Surabhi. Surabhi is the Kamadhenu, is the name for Kamadhenu, the wish-fulfilling celestial cow. Once again, the metaphor for it goes that this is a cow which fulfills all wishes. Again, there are very fantastic depictions of how its wings are of this cow, how its head is, how the tail is, different animals mixed together. But all of that aside, the metaphor stands for an endless abundance, for enormous riches. So those people who worship you with this mantra, where this triad of sounds are appended to the Panchadashi, this triad of sounds along with Panchadashi now worships the Nityas, the 15 deities around the innermost triangle and the focal point 2. So all of those put together forming this Ashtadashi mantra. Those who worship you like this are the people who constantly relish great pleasures, as they have every kind of wish that they have fulfilled instantly, which is mentioned through multiple metaphors of Chintamani Gunani Baddhakshavalayaha and Surabhigrita Dhara Hutishataihi Shivagnau Juhvantaha, and these kinds of comparisons. I hope this is now clear, the words of this shloka. We'll chant it one more time. So Adi Shankaracharya in this shloka is praising the potency of this mantra. Once again, these kinds of Panchadashi and Ashtadashi, anyway Shodashi, unless you kind of go behind it and search somewhere, you'll not find it in books. But these shlokas can be practiced instead of going behind the Bija mantra itself. This is a much safer, much more productive way of approaching it, while relishing the beauty of the rhythm of the chandas and the lyrical complexity and everything. It also functions as a prayoga, a sadhana of the mantra itself, of the Ashtadashi. Now we'll look at the chant of this shloka one more time. Smaram yonim lakshmim tritayamidamado tava manor nidhayaike nitye niravadhi mahabhogarasika bhajante tvam chintamani gunanibadhakshavalaya Shivagnau Juhvanta Surabhigrita Dhara Hutishatai.